Now, you know what happened with Force the Vote, right? So what Force the Vote was that the squad now has enough members that they need their votes. So Nancy Pelosi could not become speaker without the squad's votes. And so we were urging the squad to do what they campaigned on, which is that they would withhold their vote and extract something for it from Nancy Pelosi. The thing we picked was a vote for Medicare for all, because that's been an agreed upon goal of the left for a generation. That's been an agreed upon goal, is to force a vote on Medicare for all on the House floor. AOC said it was her goal. Nancy Pelosi said it was her goal in 1994. This has been an agreed upon goal of the left for a generation, decades. So that's why we chose vote for Medicare for all to be the force to vote thing, because everybody agreed on it. But as soon as we proposed it and it was a great idea and everyone saw it was, half the left then ran interference, like The Intercept and Ryan Grimm, the Young Turks and Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian, people with MSNBC contracts. They all ran interference for the squad to not do this. Why? Because they're in the pocket of the establishment. Those people, the Young Turks, are in the pocket of the establishment. They're beholden to DNC donors, just like people whose shows are on the Peacock network and have MSNBC contracts. They can't offend those people. They can't offend corporate America for real. And so they went against Force the Vote, pretending, and then nobody had a coherent. You saw Brianna Joy Gray had a debate with one of the loudest anti-Force the Vote people, and there was no argument to be found. There was no argument to be found. There wasn't. There still is no argument against Force the Vote. So here's Pramila Jayapal being asked about this, and she still doesn't have here she is. Here's what she says.
These are the pieces of work that have to happen. If somebody wants to call for us to force a vote on Medicare for all, I am happy to tell you why I think that's a bad idea. It will end our movement.
Boy, I'm so glad we didn't force a vote on Medicare for all, because now their movement isn't ended and we're no closer to getting Medicare for all. She doesn't want to vote. She doesn't want to vote on Medicare for all. She just introduced Medicare for all to the floor of the House. She just introduced the bill. She just introduced Medicare for all, and she's saying she doesn't want to vote on it because it would end her movement. Completely made up garbage, and nobody will push back on that. Nobody will push back on that. Wouldn't it be great if Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball could get her on their show so they could push back on that? Because I know they would. But she won't come on my show, and she'll only go on pushover shows. She's not going to go on this show. She's not going to go on that show. She'll only go on shows that they won't ask her a follow-up question. They'll go on with Jeremy Scahill at The Intercept because Jeremy Scahill's not going to ask a follow-up question because he's doing their bidding too, just like The Intercept has to run interference for the Democratic Party. He's doing it too. They'll never ask a follow-up question to that. So,
well, all you have to ask her too in that particular case is, what are they? She said, I'd be happy to lay out why it's a bad idea. Okay. Lay it out.
Why is it?
Why? Let's hear it.
Because fighting for Medicare for all will set it back. That's the theory, Ron. Again, this is the idea. Chomsky said something similar. It's ahistorical. They never cite an historical precedent to back up their not forcing a vote on Medicare for all because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There is no historical example that they can point to where we didn't force a vote on something and that it passed. That's just counterintuitive. It's anti-logic, and it doesn't exist in history. And that's the look of a liar. That's the look of someone. What did you say, Ron?
No, I was going to say, what do we want to do? Wait. When do we want to do it? As long as we need to. Probably a while.
So the whole idea that forcing a vote on Medicare for all would somehow set it back. Oh, we would have missed all this progress we made since January 3rd when you didn't force a vote on it. All the progress you've made on Medicare for all. And now she introduced Medicare for all, but she's saying she doesn't want a vote on it. That's the look of a charlatan politician. That's what Representative Pramila Jayapal is being right here. A charlatan politician who's lying to you. And she's doing it on Marianne Williamson's show. Here's Dr. Peacelove for Congress says, tell me, Representative Jayapal, how exactly do we pass progressive policies without holding a vote to pass progressive policies? How does that happen? Kyle Kalinske says women's suffrage was voted on and failed 3 times before it passed. This is just factually wrong. A losing vote can mobilize more people when they see the disgusting, corrupt rot that is Washington, D.C. So, but her idea, Kyle, would be to just keep reintroducing bills and doing absolutely nothing. That's how you win. You just keep reintroducing it, do nothing, and then somehow someday you win. And then we tweet about it. I don't know what movement she's speaking of, Ron. What movement is she? Movements, first of all, movements are supposed to move. And they're not moving. They're doing nothing. They're doing nothing.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
And that's the thing, too. When a politician says, this would kill the movement, look, that's not how society's supposed to work. A politician doesn't dictate a movement. A movement dictates a politician. That's how the world's supposed to be. I know that's not the way it is in the United States, and that's why we're in the mess we're in.
That's right. So I've tweeted out, what would us not fighting for Medicare for all mean for you and your family? Why haven't progressives in Congress and Bernie Sanders even mentioned Medicare for all in the last 3 months? They promised to be our champions. Didn't we elect them to fight for us, no matter who is the president? They are not fighting for you. Bernie Sanders is not fighting for you. Pramila Jayapal, Ro Khanna, Cori Bush, AOC, none of them are fighting. You know what they're doing? They're voting present as they up $2 billion to the cops. You know what they're doing? They're not forcing a vote on Medicare for all. They're not crossing Joe Biden. They're not crossing Nancy Pelosi. They're being good boys and little girls to the corporate pro-war, pro-Wall Street party. They're good soldiers. Pramila Jayapal is not fighting for you. She's never going to fight for you. And she's going to then try to gaslight you about the activists who want them to fight for you. People who want to force the vote. People who want $15 minimum wage. People who want Joe Biden to do the things he campaigned on. Pramila Jayapal is not going to do that. She's not going to pressure Joe Biden. She's not going to push them. AOC is not going to do that. Representative Bauman is not going to do that. Ro Khanna is not doing that. They're all tweeting, bullshitting gaslighters who are nutless wonders and will never fight for you. And they want to blame me? Go ahead. I guess I'll lose my next election I'm not running for. Anything you want to add to that, Ron?
Well, I think that if you mentioned how it's like they're not bringing up Medicare for all, it's beyond that. They're not even bringing up the public option.
No.
They're not bringing up the thing that Joe Biden himself promised. So, I mean, how much more do you need to see? We can't vote our way out of this thing, folks. We can't vote our way out of this thing.
And they're not on your side. So when people say that the squad are our allies because they give us lip service, because that's all it is. They go, they agree with us. You can say you agree. Look at all the people who said they're for Medicare for all and they're not. Look at all the people who said they were for a $15 minimum wage and they're not. You can give lips. That doesn't make you an ally. So people telling you that the squad are your allies are incorrect on the facts. If they were your allies, they would be fighting for the things they give lip service to. They're not. That's not an ally. That's someone who's actually an ally of the establishment. So the squad, since January 3rd, has been nothing but an ally of the establishment, Wall Street, and the military-industrial complex, and cops. They've done nothing for you. I'm sorry, they got you pay-go exemptions, which I know.
Sexy.
Remember, Anna Kasparian let you know they got you pay-go exemptions, and it's not sexy, and it turns out it's not anything. Turns out it wasn't anything. So that's the Young Turks gaslighting you even more.
Brutal Regime said underneath your tweet, Jimmy, you're stopping their movement of dangling Medicare for all in front of you to get you to donate more to progressive politicians who will get in power and then dangle Medicare for all in front of you to get you to donate. You see?
That's exactly right. So what she's doing is cynical. So the squad, AOC, representative Pramila Jayapal, is being a cynic. So what she's doing, and she's being insidious. So what she's doing is she never wants to have a vote on Medicare for all because she wants to be able to dangle that so she can get fundraising and votes. So you'll keep voting for her because she says she's for it, even though she'll never do anything to make it happen. She's introducing Medicare for all and doesn't want to vote on it. And why is she doing that? So she can fundraise off it and get votes off it. That's it. She's another shitty politician. Congratulations. Keep voting for Democrats and think things are going to change.
Do you think it's fair at this point? Like, do you think it's fair at this point to say that in some ways universal health care, like Medicare for all, it is the Democrats' version of abortion?
Yes.
And what I mean by that,
yes.
It's like, you know, the Republicans, they always say abortion, abortion, abortion. And a lot of people, it's like they don't really, they're never actually going to overturn that because they run on it so hard. And it's like, well, Democrats, they never actually want to give you universal health care because they dangle that carrot so much and so often. Because this goes beyond just the Medicare for all discussion. I mean, they've been discussing universal health care for decades.
Since John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy said it in 1962. The things I'm proposing now, Europe did decades ago. He said that. This isn't a radical idea. The radicals are the people who are against it. The radicals are the people who won't fight for it. She's a radical because she says voting on it right now would somehow hurt it. During the deadly pandemic, voting on Medicare for all would somehow hurt it. That's just a lie. And so that just shows you that your favorite politicians are willing to lie to your face over the most serious things. And that's what the squad is. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.